Chapter 3, Flames. For a split second, I don't think it's real. The man stands gripping a Tibetan flag over his head. Flames lick the corners of the fabric, and they curl as the red ink bleeds into the blue and yellow. He looks to the sky and shouts. My ears are ringing. The edges of my vision blur. The man on fire steps forward and flames cling to his body. He runs past Dorji's camping shop, leaving a trail of thick smoke. His mouth is wide and roaring. The crowd draws back and my mind begins working again. The man on fire races down the street, past the shop selling copper teapots. Flames swirl around him. The crowd fights to get out of the way. Fire rips through the flag above the man's head. It tears down the middle. The women next to me are watching, hands in front of their mouths. Why is no one doing anything? I whisper. I can't tear my eyes away. He stumbles and falls onto his hands and knees. The flag has burnt away. In seconds, soldiers are all over the man on fire, smothering the flames under blankets. They shove the onlookers back, bundle him up and steal him away in an army truck. The crowd is alive. He did it to himself. He doused himself in flames. I'm wedged between two men and the weight crushes my chest. A hand grips my arm. It's Sam. Follow me, he says. I scramble forward, squinting through stinging eyes. In every breath I taste burning. I reach the shops and lean on a basket of iron pots to steady myself, barely stopping. I sprint up the track and fly past the rows of square stone houses with their flat roofs cut into the side of the mountain. Our front door is open and I spot Mum in the kitchen. I dash past the house and climb the mountain, scrabbling at the jagged rock. I heave myself onto the flat ground. The river gushes below. The back of my throat burns. Who was that person? Why did they set themselves on fire? In the distance, the late sunlight catches the twisted branches of the vulture tree. The twigs dissolve into flames. I blink. It's not real. Something touches my shoulder and I jump away. The wind blows wisps of hair across Sam's face. They stick to the sweat on his broad cheekbones. I let my body sink onto the cold stone. Sam squats down next to me. We sit in silence, listening to the wind roar. Chapter 4, Shadow. We need to find your dad, says Sam. He'll know what to do. I nod in agreement. When we were younger, we thought the same thing so often that we pretended we could read each other's minds. Dad will help the man on fire. He has to. I hear the thud of footsteps. Kalsang, our neighbour, rushes down the path. His coat is unbuttoned and flaps behind him. Have you seen Tinley? He asks. Not since school, I say, brushing my hands together. The dirt sprinkles onto the ground. Kalsang scans the bridge. What about you? He asks Sam. Sam shakes his head apologetically. Kalsang hastens onwards, heading down towards the river, dodging the goats wandering across the path. As we hurry towards the houses, I scratch my hand on the wall of branches stacked at the side to stop the goats from straying. Ahead, smoke rises into the clear sky from the chimneys. Winter will be here soon. Another neighbour, Dolka, is hunched over a spindle in front of her house, spinning yak's wool. A carved walking stick rests against the axle. Her long grey hair is parted neatly down the middle and swept into a bun. She hears us and looks up. "Get inside, Tashila," she says. "There's a curfew tonight." The sun is setting behind the monastery on the slope opposite us. The rectangular rooms are etched into the grey mountain like steps. At the top stands a temple. No one will be allowed outside after dark. "The sun will be gone in 30 minutes, says Sam. I spot flashes of dark red as the monks walk in and out of the rooms. I used to dream of becoming a nun until Mum told me I'd have to live in the monastery forever and shave my head. After that I changed my mind, but I still stood next to the stone building whenever I could. If I got close enough, I would lean against the cool stone, catching whiffs of thick incense and snippets of deep prayers. I'm lost in the memory. It's easier than thinking about anything else right now. "Tashila," says Dolka, "you should listen to your elders." She bends over, reaches into the woven basket and wraps a new piece of wool around her fingers. "Sorry," I mumble. "We're going now." There's movement at the bottom of the monastery. Rows of soldiers march up to the base and gather around the building like a shadow. My heart thumps. "Not the monastery," says Dolka, letting the wool drop to the ground. "Please, not them." "Tash!" I know that voice. It's Mum. She strides towards me, gathers me in her arms and hugs me so tightly I can hardly breathe. "I told her to go inside," says Dolka. "Thank you," says Mum, loosening her grip. She squeezes Dolka's hand. "You should go inside too." Mum glances at the monastery. It's surrounded by soldiers. They're camouflaged against the grey rock. "Quickly," says Mum, gesturing towards our house. "We haven't much time." The path is deserted. Our feet tap against the stones. A siren shrieks close by, warning that the curfew is coming. We sprint after Mum down the alley to Sam's house. "Do I have to go home?" asks Sam. "Can't I come back to yours?" "Not tonight," says Mum. "Your dad will be worried about you." When we arrive, Sam's dad is sitting by the window, frowning. He points at us, leaving a mark on the glass with his finger. I usually try to avoid Sam's dad. It's impossible to know how he's going to act. He scratches his beard before heaving himself up and stumbling on his bad leg. He opens the door. The draught carries a smell of boiling goat meat. "It's not Samdat's fault they're late," Mum says quickly. "Did you hear about the market today?" He looks up at her. "I know what's been going on out there, and we don't want any part of it." I peer behind him into the house, spotting the piles of dirty pots and pans on the countertops. Mum squeezes my shoulder. Sam opens his mouth, then shrugs and steps inside. His eyes say everything. Sam's dad thumps the door shut. The last of the light is gone now. It's dark and we're breaking the curfew.